Hi everyone. Our learning target is going to change just a little bit today. We're going to still keep working on addition and subtraction with mixed numbers for just today, but the exception or the change is going to be that these addition and subtraction problems on your independent practice and the two problems we're going to do together are going to require some regrouping, either with addition, maybe we'll have improper fractions that we'll need to regroup into mixed numbers, or with subtraction where we need to borrow from the whole number part of the mixed numbers. So I think it's safe to say that our steps are exactly the same as we've been doing for the last couple days. We're going to first start by kind of organizing our work. I'm going to write our mixed numbers vertically. Now, this is addition, so it doesn't matter what way we write these vertically, but I'm just going to write them the way I see them right away. 2 and 5, 6 plus 5 and 7/9. Okay, now from last week, our addition and subtraction of fractions, and from yesterday with mixed number subtraction, we know that we cannot add and subtract fractions with uncommon denominators like 6/9 here. So what we're going to need to do is find a common denominator using our least common multiple, and that's going to tell us what our new denominator should be and help us turn 5/6 and 7/9 into equivalent fractions that have that denominator. Once we have that common denominator, then we can add our fraction pieces. Okay, so I'm going to make a list over here, my multiples of 6 and multiples of 9. Again, our goal is to find that least common multiple, or the smallest number that both 6 and 9 multiply into. I'm going to start with my multiples of 6. Just like if we were doing this in class, when you see one that is also divisible by 9, that's when you say stop. If you are not comfortable getting to that point, just write out a list of multiples, maybe go up to 6 times 5, and then see if there are any on the list. If not, just keep going. Okay, so 6 times 1 is 6. This is just like you skip counting by 6. 12, 18, 24, 30. Okay, so I all went up to 6 times 5. Okay, so now let's look for one for 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. So I'm guessing some of you saw it already and you said stop. And it is right here. Now, 6 and 9 are going to end up sharing some other common multiples. Like, for example, 6 times 6 is 36. So 36 right here, this is a common multiple. But if we use 36 as our new denominator, we'd have to do some extra simplifying of that fraction answer at the end. So it's easiest to use your least common multiple. Okay, I'm going to write that denominator of 18 here and here. Now we're going to use multiplication to make our 5/6 and 7/9 into equivalent fractions with denominators of 18. So here I'm going to do 6 times 3 equals 18. So do the same to your numerator. 5 times 3 is 15. Same down here. What times 9 equals 18? If you're stuck there, you can go ahead and look at your list. 1, 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay. Now that we have this, we can add those fraction pieces together. And when I say this, I mean common denominators. So our denominator is going to be 18ths. And then we're going to add 15 plus 14. Ugh, so here's where the regrouping comes in. 15 plus 14 is 29. Okay, now we're not going to add our whole numbers yet because we have some work to do here. We can't leave this as an improper fraction and just add 2 plus 5 is 7. The answer is 7 and 29/18. So instead, if you think about what we did 2 weeks ago in our fraction practice, you are going to turn this improper fraction back into a mixed number. Okay, this is how we do our regrouping when we have more than one whole. So to do that, you are going to divide your numerator by the denominator. What we're trying to figure out is how many 18/18 or one wholes we can get from this. Okay, now, like me, maybe some of you don't know your multiples of 18, and that is totally fine. But I know that 18 is really close to 20. So if I did 20 times 2, that's 40. So I know that 18 can only go into 29 once. So I'm going to put that up there. It's a big one in our quotient, because remember, we're going to try and turn this into a mixed number. or not try, we are going to. And then I'm going to subtract here. Okay, and I got 11 left over, and 11 is not divisible by 18, so this is going to come up here and be the numerator, and 18 is the denominator. Okay, so now this is what we regrouped our improper fraction, our fraction pieces, after we added them into. So now we have to add that 1, I'm going to put it up here in green so it kind of stands out, to our whole numbers. I'm going to write my fraction answer down here, 11/18. We can't simplify that or reduce that. And then I'm going to add 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. So our answer is 8 and 11/18. Okay, that was an addition problem with regrouping. Now we're going to do some subtraction, or one subtraction problem with mixed numbers that is going to require us to do some regrouping work. So the first thing, again, is to start organizing our work so that we have room to show it. Again, I would recommend that you're using a piece of paper to show your work. This is a lot of work, and I have noticed the kids that are writing down their work are having a lot more success with this addition and subtraction of fractions. Okay, so I'm going to write this. Remember, this is subtraction, so order matters. 8 2/3 minus 2 7/8. Okay, now again, I notice that I cannot subtract thirds and eighths or eighths from thirds because these are uncommon or unlike denominators. Okay, so I'm going to write my fraction bar here for us to make equivalent fractions. Okay, remember, we're always going to work with our fraction pieces first before our whole numbers. Our first step is going to be to find that least common multiple. So I'm going to write a list of my multiples of 3, my multiples of 8. Okay, let's start with 3. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 times 7 is 21, 3 times 8 is 24. We'll do the same thing with 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Okay, now I see right here already in my list, my least common multiple, or the common multiple that I share that is the smallest, is 24. Okay, so I'm going to write this here as our new denominator, 24 and 24. Okay, and we're going to use multiplication to turn our 2/3 into an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 24. What times 3 equals 24? That is 8. So you can do the same thing to your numerator. 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, and over here, 8 times 3 is 24. So do the same thing to your numerator. 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, and you're probably noticing, now that we have the same denominators, or like denominators, common denominators, we can go ahead with our subtraction. But you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Ms. Brocker. I see that 21, what we're taking away from 16, is greater, and I know we can't do that subtraction, and you're right. So we're going to do something kind of weird. I'm going to use this green marker here so it kind of stands out. What we can do is regroup one of our whole numbers, our 8. We're going to take 1 away from this and turn this into 7. And we're going to regroup this into one whole, but as a fraction. This is just like borrowing when you do normal subtraction. So we're going to turn that one whole that we borrowed over here, we're going to put it over here, and we're going to turn it into 24 24ths, which is the same thing as one whole. So it's just taking part of this whole number, actually one whole, and regrouping it over here. And once we do that and add those two together, we're going to get an improper fraction here. And normally, I've been saying you can't leave your answer as your improper fraction, but actually we need more than one whole, because down here we can't subtract 21 from 16. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add. I know my denominator is going to stay 24. So right now what I'm doing is 16 24ths plus 24 24ths. Okay, which is equal to 40 24ths. And I could do that addition over here too. 40. And now, looking at this, can I subtract 40 minus 21? And the answer is yes. 40 minus 21. Got a bar over here. 19. Okay, so my denominator stays the same. It is 24ths. And my numerator is 19. And how I got that is subtracting my improper fraction of 40 24ths minus 21 24ths. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to look at 19 24ths and can I simplify that or reduce that fraction? The answer is no, because 19 is a prime number. It only has factors of 19 and 1. I can't divide 24 by 19. Okay, now I can come over and do my whole number subtraction. So instead of doing 8 minus 2, we've regrouped one a whole and turned it into 24 24ths. So now I'm going to do 7 minus 2 is 5. 5 and 19 24ths is our answer.